Why is everything broken right now? What the fuck? Hello? No? Okay. Chat is not showing on screen. My stream deck isn't working. Well. What a lovely day. Quick run of Pokédex gets those juices flowing, and then I have to finish this tier list ranking. Get on the Golden Cup and Satisfyer. I don't know what that is. I beat the game. I don't know how you would get the Golden Cup. I'm not gonna lie, the last, like, 2 phases of the game... The, like, mid-game of that game was insanely fucking addicting, but, like, especially the last phase, I think was kind of boring. Like, I feel like once I had, like, a proper nuclear power plant set up, everything else was just kind of me going through the motions. Like, once you solve, like, late game power, you're kind of done in that game, I feel like. Normal type from Johto. Give me Porygon 2. Mono type normal. Give me... My go-to here is Minccino. Dual type normal. Give me Meloetta. Dual type first partner. What about like Datrix? Monotype first partner. Give me Eevee. Johto first partner. I mean, can you go Meganium Mega here? No. Give me Croconaw. Johto final evolution. Mantine is a great pick there. Final evolution monotype. Unironically, I think you go for like a Persian Alola. Yeah. Huge hit. And then dual type final evolution. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to go Sawsbuck because it's got forms. Good fucking round. That felt better than it was. 29 out of 14. Okay, Squawkabilly, double. What's my biggest miss? Typhlosion, apparently only half the time of Croconaw. Make that one make sense. Braixen. Oh, Braixen is a great pick there. Marshtomp. Everything else is kind of fine. Okay, sure. Why not? Minecryptic. Par 3, 9 letters. Pit players or co-captain against 6 highest rated centers. Pit players, or the or could be the equal sign, and that would give pit players the definition. Co-captain against 6 highest rated centers. Maybe it's saying us to telling us to take the centers of these words. That would give us T. But I mean, there's no reversal indicator or anything, so I don't think so. I have no idea what's going on in this clue. Co-captain could, I guess, be like second letter, like G-I. I know. Highest rated center is... Pit players or co-captain. What else could co-captain mean? I have no idea. Co-captain. Would be like the second in command. Co-captain against 6. 6 could be VI. Highest rated senders. So that would give us H&T. Highest rated centers. Pit players. Could this be like gladiator? I have no idea what's going on in this clue. Pit players. Who plays in a pit? If this is some sports shit, I'm not gonna know it. Co-captain. I know who plays in a pit. An orchestra. How the fuck does this clue work? Okay, I think I understand. So it's literally the letters or. Co-captain is just C. It's the captain of CO. The first letter of co is C. And then the phrase six highest rated. No. What is 6 doing in this clue? Is it telling us to select 6 letters? Yeah, 6 highest rated centers. So the center of highest rated is Estra. I guess. That's 5 letters. What is 6 doing in here? Oh, it's Hestra. Yeah, Hestra. That's 6 letters. Sorry. Yeah. So 6 of highest rated centers. Okay. It's like a semi-hidden. That's really interesting. That's a good clue. I like this one. Okay, I have limited time today, so let's get fucking through this shit. I already did a little bit of work. I already started on this. Oh, there's a mini today. I'll do the mini if I have time at the end. We have to get through this. Okay, so I already made a few notes. I think I got to Sea King in this list. So, Raichu. I wrote, electric types all get minimum A tier for being a crucial piece for many Wallace strategies. Raichu seems like the worst one, so low A. Then we have Ninetales. Minor niche uses on late game fights, so this would include doing stuff like Super Cope Will-O-Wisp stuff on Drake, clearing Glalie on Glacia, beating Sydney's grass types, being an emergency answer to Altaria, I guess, although if it sets up, it doesn't really matter. It can tank Ice Beams on Juan if you're going for like a PP stall on Kingdra. And then you could Sunny Day and sack this if that sets you up for something like a pincer sweep or something on... Like Sunny Day sack first turn against Wallace is really good because you force the Wailord to Rain Dance, essentially giving you a free setup. All of this, though, is super niche, so I think it's low C. Next is Sandslash. I found no uses for this whatsoever. So Sandslash is going in F tier. Wigglytuff is interesting because it has a huge move pool and naturally learns Rest. So it can like patch up some holes on certain fights. I don't know why you would ever take this into Elite Four. You shouldn't. But like it can do stuff on Winona. I would rank this like a mid C tier, I think. Mid to high C tier is what I was thinking. Crobat is so tragic. This Pokemon does fucking nothing. It's actually so fucking tragic. I have to rank this F tier. It's also high opportunity cost to get this in Granite Cave because there's so many better encounters. Like, if you get it late game, it's free, but it doesn't fucking matter. This Pokemon is so ass. Okay, Vileplume and Blossom. So for these, like, chlorophyll grass types, they have a niche on Wallace where if you do the standard electric opening where you, like, I mean, ideally it's like sack, chip, Wailord, kill Wailord with an electric move, kill Gyarados. This avoids the Whiscash switch AI stuff. Hello? And if you do all that, you can set up on Whiscash and get pretty far. Vileplume is a little bit better on Juan because it gets more kills. These guys can like do stuff on Juan if you avoid like an Ice Beam crit. Blossom is a little bit better on Wallace because it takes less damage from Earthquake, like significantly. These are pretty similar though. This is a low B tier rating from me. Next we have Golduck, which I thought was going to be S tier, but as I was looking through my notes, it's not as crazy as I made it out to be. It's really good. This Pokemon is nuts. Guaranteed encounter, guaranteed Winona sweep. Psychic Swagger Tech is actually real. And then the sweeps one. And it's like a stat check kind of thing on Sydney. You could do like a Calm Mind sweep on Phoebe. You have like tech like Damp on the Exploding Glalie, which is sometimes something that you need an answer for that can be surprisingly hard to find. Like a safe answer for that. And if you're feeling really spicy and have a good attack stat, you can do Swagger Psych Up on the first Celio and actually sweep that fight. Then on Drake, you have a pretty good shot at dealing with like a lot of Mons if you just kind of Calm Mind to +2 with White Herb on Shelgon. It's not like a guaranteed sweep or anything, but it's going to be pretty good. There's also like a super batshit insane cope plan where you just leave this as Kingdra comes out, you just stay in and let it dragon dance, and then you hope for it to dragon dance again as you psych up, clearing all the drops you've accrued and copying the dragon dance boosts and then just sweeping. And then on Wallace, you have a guaranteed sweep with this, but you need to bring 2 combo pieces. You need to do your standard electric opening, and then you also need to have a Pokemon that so you need to not kill the Gyarados with your electric type, and then like Magneton would do this pretty well actually. And then you need to come out with something that will bait Gyarados into a Hyper Beam kill. And ideally a couple of Dragon Dances. So your Gyarados can do this, although Gyarados can kind of sweep Wallace anyway. Pelipper can do this. There's probably other Pokemon that can do this. So if you're willing to dedicate those 3 combo pieces to Wallace, if you figured out the rest of the Elite Four, this is a safe sweep.
Are gonna love this super in-depth analysis.
Because what happens is Gyarados takes a kill with Hyper Beam, and it's got a bunch of Dragon Dances set up, and then on the recharge turn, you psych up with Golduck, and then you go for the return sweep over those Dragon Dance boosts. All in all, I think this puts Golduck in like mid to high A tier. Machoke, I couldn't find anything for. Machamp, oh sorry, Zam. Alakazam is surprisingly like a little overrated. It doesn't have like any super safe setup sweeps. It needs support to work, but if you're willing to use like your defensive support Pokemon, like your Illumizes or your Vigoroths or something like that, you can make it work on a lot of fights with Calm Mind. It naturally learns Calm Mind, which is really nice. And then you can get this to do a bunch of sweeps. Even on like Drake or Wallace, if you're willing to like give it support and adapt a lot. It can do stuff on Norman. It's obviously really good on Watson, but because it needs so much support and is like heavily outclassed by Gardevoir, also doesn't learn Thunderbolt. I would give this like a low to mid A tier rating. I think mid A tier. And then Kadabra, the problem is like completely falls off after Flannery. Like it's got value on Flannery for being able to revenge kill Torkoal, but that's kind of it. After that, it doesn't really see any more use, in my opinion. Landing Kadabra in like low B tier, I think. The thing is, like, even the Brawly sweep isn't actually guaranteed. You're still dodging Vital Throw crits sometimes. Like, there's just no fights where this is just like amazing. All right, Karate Andi, der Boss vom Hinterhof. This is an interesting case. We're going to talk a lot about Hariyama, which does most of what Machamp does better. The only thing that Machamp does better is it's got a bulk up sweep on Flannery because it gets low kick. But other than that, it's just kind of outclassed. It's still a decent Pokemon. I would put this in like high B tier, and then we'll talk about Machamp later. Isn't that high C for Kadabra? Kadabra is also really good on Watson, and obviously on Brawly and stuff. So it also just like kills a bunch of random mons and stuff. Like, this could be argued be high C. I could see it. I think I like low B. Tentacruel. I didn't have in my memory that this Pokemon was this good, but going over my notes, this is a really solid Pokemon. It just gives you so much security. It's actually really good on Drake. If you have good stats on this, it's pretty stat dependent. If you have good stats on this and you hit Clear Body, this Pokemon is kind of fucking nuts. Clear Body is such a good ability in this Elite Four. Super, super high value. This can 1v1 Walrein. This can, like I said, if you have good stats, you can sweep Drake. If you don't outspeed like the Flygon and stuff like that, this can still be like a really decent like Salaman's Answer. It's like okay, it's got like a not a great matchup into Kingdra to be fair, but like it's got the stats. It can patch up holes on Wallace. It's like one of the best Ludicolo counters in the game. This can solo Sydney if you have clear body. This is like decent support on Juan, decent on Juan's Kingdra even if you have no better answer. And this plus Gyarados will always consistently beat Flannery. And those are guaranteed encounters. All in all, this sounds like a mid to high A tier Pokemon to me. I think that this is this better or worse than Golduck? I think it's worse. I think Golduck just has a little bit of extra sauce on top of it. Next we have Graveler and Golem, which surprisingly, in my mind, there is no difference between Graveler and Golem rating because this Pokemon is completely useless after like Norman. But even on Norman, it's just the inconsistent damage output from like Rock Blast and Magnitude is really infuriating. Like, and then even on Flannery, what you're doing like rollout sweep, like Golem's stats against Flannery make it just a little bit better. But at the end of the day, like the true value of this Pokemon is that it allows you to easily beat Watson without picking Mudkip. So I think all in all, this is like, I think high C or low B. The fact that you can like use this for Crobats and like random Mightyenas and stuff during your playthrough, I think just I think I'd rather have Kadabra. I don't know. This is tough, but it's pretty. I guess like a really consistent Watson answer is nice. I think I'll put it into low B just for that. Magneton. The problem with Magneton is it's speed dependent if you even outspeed Wailord, and you don't outspeed Gyarados, so you can't do the standard electric opening. You just fucking lose, right? And so it's got really good damage and really good typing, and it's got like really good matchups throughout the Elite Four. This can like solo fucking Sydney and Phoebe. Like, it's got really good damage, really good typing, but it just I think it's the only electric type that I'm gonna put into like B tier instead, just because not outspeeding the Gyarados means you can't consistently get out the Whiscash, which is like the key to a lot of setup strategies on Wallace. Dodrio is really fun and gets a lot of style points, and he has a sick YOLO strat on Juan, but realistically, it's got a rage sweep on Sydney. It's got like if you like taunt into rage, but that's like inconsistent because you could attack turn one. Can't do anything on Phoebe because you don't have space for Drill Peck. Does nothing on Drake, and then everything is just kind of too bulky on Wallace. At the end of the day, this guy is really fun and gets extra style points, but it's got huge opportunity cost because there's some of the best Pokemon in the game are in the Safari Zone that you're not hitting. You're not getting Golduck, you're not getting Pinsir, you're not getting Heracross if you're getting this. So I think I'm going to give this like a generous high C tier rating, unfortunately. Rhydon. Oh wait, I skipped like a bunch of months. I don't know why I put Rhydon here, but Rhydon is it's everything that Golem is, except you can't get it for Watson. This is barely saved from F tier just because like sometimes you just want like for like random playthrough stuff like a bulky rock type guy, but This Pokemon's really ass, and it's got the Safari Zone opportunity cost. Seeking escapes an S tier an F tier fate for having the cinematic Horn Drill strat on Kingdra, where Double Team doesn't change the accuracy of Horn Drill, so you actually have you usually have 5 opportunities to hit one of your Horn Drills on it. And what is the chance to hit 1 of 5 Horn Drills? It's 30% to hit, right? So the chance to miss all of them is 70%. And that to the power of 5. You've got this has an 84% chance to kill Kingdra. That's pretty good. It's not accounting for Ice Beam freezes and stuff, but. And you could do Lepa Berry for a few more, although then you don't have Citrus, you're gonna die kind of sooner. I don't know if you have that many more opportunities. You could do Citrus and PP up or something. I don't know. And you can improve your chances just a little bit by edging it, having it level up in the fight with an XP share, and then you get that extra 1% chance to hit. Muck just it doesn't do anything. It's F tier, I'm sorry. I just don't see it. Electrode. Okay, so this is the notes that I made before. Electrode just is low A tier for being an electric type. You probably don't want to boom this on Kingdra, but you could. If you have a plan to finish it off from there. If you put a magnet on this, you improve your chances of killing Wailord to do your electric type strat. It's fine. It doesn't really, there's not much that makes this better than anything else. You could boom this on Whiscash maybe, but I don't know if you want that. Then we have Starmie. Oh, sorry, Wheezing. Norman can Hail Mary boom on Slacking. This seems awful. EQ Immune Pivot also solos Tropius. So just a little bit of utility on Winona. Doesn't do anything on Juan because it doesn't get Destiny Bond. This can kind of solo Sydney. This has decent matchups on Phoebe, but whatever. This can be an Altaria counter on Drake, but who cares? This can be an extremely inconsistent Gyarados counter. I think all those things kind of add together to just barely escape C tier. Yeah. Then we have Starmie. This Pokemon is very good. This Pokemon is excellent. You can Cosmic Power set up on Juan and have 20 recover PP and you just win. Doesn't really do much on Phoebe and Sydney. Her Glalie somehow perfectly counters this Pokemon. This is very likely to sweep Drake. And it could do stuff on Wallace. It's kind of hard. You could do stuff like passing a Tail Glow or some Calm Mind boosts to this, and that would give you a really safe Wallace sweep. It's also just good backup on that fight. Honestly, is this better than Tentacruel? Probably. It's just got better damage output and recovery options, and it sweeps one. Is this better than Golduck? Yeah, it's kind of similar to Golduck. It gets a Wallace sweep with support. It doesn't do as much on Glacia, but it can. It can still counter Wall Rain and stuff like that. And it's got the super safe Juan sweep, and I mean, Golduck also has that. But Starmie is way better on Drake and gives you a pretty safe sweep. This is a high A tier Pokemon, I think. Pinsir. Pinsir is a huge surprise. This Pokemon is fucking fantastic. Really, 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 really good pocket monster. This like outspeeds Altaria and resists Earthquake, so you could have this be like a Cope Altaria answer if you really need to. You actually live Earthquake into +1 Aerial Ace sometimes, which is huge. You would have to use like Rock Tomb though. Then on Huan, there's this like surprisingly consistent setup where you like use Bulk Up and Sunny Day. Like you Sunny Day to like reduce Love Disc damage. You bulk up a bunch, you try to snap out, and then you just kind of click return into a bunch of moves if you've got like your attack set up, and then you like Hyper Beam into the Kingdra. One of the things to note about Pinsir is it's in that speed tier where, because you get a 10% speed boost from your badge boost, and it's a Safari Zone encounter, which means with Pokeblocks you can manip this guy's nature to almost always be plus speed. This actually has an excellent speed tier where it outspeeds almost everything it needs to. If you manage to only get to +1 attack on the Love Disc, you kind of have to YOLO Hyper Beam Kingdra. This also kind of depends on your Pinsir's gender, because Attract from Love Disc can fuck you up, but it really isn't doing that much damage, so like you can do it. So it's got Sauce on Juan, right? If you're Hyper Cutter, which you always are, you block Mighty Gen's Intimidate on Sydney, which means you preserve the White Herb for his first Sand attack, which means you can just Swords Dance and sweep. If you're like really high attack, you don't even need to set up for it. Then on Phoebe, you do the standard out pivoting the Dusclops, or like stalling on the Dusclops until it uses Curse for the first time. Then you bring in your setup sweeper, in this case Pinsir. You Swords Dance twice, and then you sweep with Earthquake. Requires Earthquake TM, but whatever. Glacia, you just go Lumberry. You Swords Dance on the guaranteed Hail turn. You Swords Dance again. If you paralyze you Lumberry. Then you're +4 attack, and then you sweep with Brick Break. Like I said, the speed tier. It can sweep Drake if Shelgon protects turn 1. You need good speed IV. I think you need like 21 speed IV or something, plus XP from previous fights to outspeed the Salamence. But Salamence is the fastest Pokemon in the game, and the fact that like all the like compounding speed boosts, the 1.1x from badge boost and the 1.1x from nature, makes you faster than everyone in the game with this Pinsir is kind of insane, right? If you manage to get to +4 attack with this and White Herb one of the Rock Tombs, and then he doesn't hit another because he either protected or missed the Rock Tomb or something, then this can actually sweep Drake. I wouldn't rely on it, but it can work. And then on Wallace, you can lead with a Sunny Day Pokemon. This can be like any Pokemon that learns Sunny Day, and have that Pokemon die to Wailord. And then like Swords Dance, return on the Wailord on the guaranteed Rain Dance turn from Wailord, because he wants to set the weather, right? Then you Swords Dance, then you return, which usually gets Wailord into heal range, so you can Swords Dance again. But you could probably get that Swords Dance off somewhere else too. Make sure to run Protect so you can stall Rain before Ludicolo comes out. And honestly, that's pretty like decently consistent. The more I think about, like, none of the Pokemon on this list so far have had the sweeping potential that Pinsir has. I am inclined to put this into S tier. We will revisit. Speaking of S tier, Gyarados is... People really hate how I say that Pokemon's name, man. Gyarados is probably the best Pokemon in the game. I'm not doing Seadra because I'm doing Kingdra later. Fuck testing Seadra. Why would you do that? So Gyarados doesn't do anything on Watson, doesn't do anything on Brawly. Gyarados plus Tentacool always beats Flannery. In general, Gyarados is one of the best Flannery counters in the game because it gets Dragon Rage for like crazy damage on Torkoal. It's like one of the best Altaria counters in the game for Winona. You can also just kind of solo if you teach Thunderbolt and Ice Beam, which you can get for free without using the casino, one of each by the time you're at Winona. You can solo with Bolt Beam. Just make sure not to Thunderbolt on the Swablu. Make sure to Ice Beam the Swablu, because if it mirror moves into Thunderbolt, you're fucked. So that's easy. Decent on Tantalize, but whatever. Tantalize is going to be a whole different beast. Juan, I couldn't really find like a decent point for. This can like kill 3 mons, bring out Kingdra with only Crawdon in the back. That could be like a good position potentially. But then it comes to E4. And you have your Taunt TM. And you have your Dragon Dance. And oh man. So Taunt plus D-Dance easily sweeps Sydney. Make sure you know how Taunt works in Gen 3, by the way. It only lasts 2 turns. You have to Taunt. And then you have to Taunt every other turn. If you avoid the double para and manage to set it to +4. So this works on Sydney Phoebe. If you avoid the double paralysis and Taunt every other turn on Celio, on Glacia, you can probably get to +4. And easily sweep with Return with Dragon Dance. +3 might be enough because the Wall Rain can't really kill you. And then on Drake, you can just Dragon Dance and win. It's easy. Because you get to +1 for free because the Shelgon is going to protect, and then you just you're going to be +1 because the Rock Tomb is always going to take 1 off, and you can like tank a bunch of Rock Tombs, so that's an easy sweep. And then on Wallace, unless you get like giga bad RNG, you can also just D-Dance up and win. So this is the only Pokemon so far that like most reliably sweeps every E4 member. It gives you basically a free Flannery. It's pretty decent on Norman for Intimidate too, by the way. It can sweep Winona. Only Juan is where it's kind of lacking, but I think this is such an easy S tier inclusion, and I think it's up there for best Pokemon in the game. You do only get 1 return TM. That's really important to note. Yeah. Specifically for Pinsir and Gyarados. Seeking we did Lantern. I thought that this Pokemon would be way better. By the time you get it, there's no opportunity to use Volt Absorb. It does beat like everything but Whiscash on Juan if you run Raynance Thunder to beat Kingdra. Also something else, if you don't want to use your Raynance team, you can have something else set up Rain for you on the Kingdra, and then you win. It's like a fine body on like Sydney and Phoebe. Don't leave this in on the Glalie, but it can do really good against like Wall Rain and stuff. On Drake, it really only can be used as like a Men's counter because it's weak to Earthquake and stuff like that. And then on Wallace, it kind of falls off. It doesn't really do that much. The biggest problem with Lantern is it doesn't get any reliable forms of recovery. And it's not good enough to invest your rest TM into. So I think all in all, unfortunately, while it is good, I don't think this is better than like a high B tier Pokemon. Relicanth is not relevant in any fights. Wait, no. Why am I on Relicanth? Xatu. If you want to use your Calm Mind TM on this can sweep 1. And this can set up on Whiscash. It can only sweep 1 reliably if you use your Giga Drain TM because it has like no other way of killing the Whiscash. Doesn't get Shockwave or anything. But if you do the standard opening on Wallace, you can, where you kill Wailord with an electric type, chain the Gyarados, get Whiscash out, you can even keep your electric type in the back, switch this into Earthquake, set up Calm Minds on the Whiscash and win. it's a really fast Pokemon, which is kind of nice. So its advantage over other Calm Mind sweepers is that it's immune to Earthquake and gets Giga Drain. And I think that's probably it doesn't do anything else anywhere else, so it would be exclusively a Juan and Wallace answer. And I think that just barely gives it a low A tier rating. Azumarill. This beats Roxanne, which is really nice. In case you're picking Torchic for some reason, I guess.
Good afternoon.
It's okay on Brawly. It's a bulky Pokemon that does special damage, which is sometimes just something you need for that fight. Obviously doesn't do anything on Watson. It solos Flannery pretty consistently. You could do a rollout sweep on Norma, but who cares? This is like a decent body with Ice Beam for Winona, if that's what you really want. But apart from that, it just kind of falls off, man. Like, I don't know. I'm going to give this like a mid B tier rating, I think. Wobbuffet, I just couldn't really. The problem is there's no Pokemon in this game that are like lead Pokemon or whatever, or like final Pokemon that are just like, I'm gonna fucking hit you really hard. And then Wobbuffet can just like counter or mirror coat them. Almost all the threats in this game threaten you with like setup or smoke screen or like random fucking shit that Wobbuffet doesn't like playing into. So what are you gonna do, like randomly encore? There is one very specific use, which is the pre-para Agilipass. So you go to +2 agility with something like Gorbis that is paralyzed on the Kingdra. You take the move, you baton pass out, you bring in Wobbuffet with the +2 speed, and it's pre-damaged to like 1 HP. And then you use that speed boost to Destiny Bond and take the Kingdra with you. And that always works because Destiny Bond is self-targeting, so it skips the accuracy check. And we're going to put Wobbuffet into a special tier somewhere in like the middle of B tier, which is Pokemon that are specifically exactly good for having a super specific strat for beating Kingdra. We're going to put those in low B tier somewhere here. Girafarig is a super interesting Pokemon. This is a really versatile Pokemon. There's a lot to say about Girafarig. Is that better than Dodrio? I think so, yeah. Well, no, I guess like Dodrio is like, you know what, Dodrio? Yeah, I think the super specific Kingdra counters actually need to go into C tier. You're actually just right. And Dodrio gets to actually be bottom B tier because it does sweep a fight. Is it not theoretically a free pivot? It's just like usually inconsistent into what you're encoring. I couldn't find a use for this thing, man. Giraffarig's pretty good on Winona. Keep in mind it's a Safari Zone encounter. It gets agility, it gets Calm Mind via TM, it gets Baton Pass. So this can both be a sweeper and a baton passer, which gives it a huge amount of versatility. It just has trouble setting up on some fights, but this can sweep one. Depending on Love Disc RNG, kind of. This can like baton pass to something on Sydney that's probably going to be good. This can sweep Phoebe because you can just wait with another Pokemon for the Dusclops to curse, right? If you dodge a crit on Glacia, you can sweep with it. It's a little bit inconsistent. It's kind of hard to get if you manage to get like an agility and a Calm Mind off, or like a Calm Mind into like a faster water type, or just an agility into like a more powerful water type like Wailord or something, this can, just like any bulky water type, even like Swampert or something, you can pass like an agility boost to, even after a Rock Tomb, or just like pass into a white herb Pokemon. Well, I guess that doesn't work. Yeah. But if you like you can pass a +1 speed realistically to any Pokemon. That's probably going to be good on, Drake, or a Calm Mind into a white herb guy, and then it's neutral speed and has the damage to kill everything. So probably enable some stuff on Drake. You can kind of do stuff opening on Wallace, but it's kind of really hard because the Wailord does so much damage. But you could also just like throw out a bunch of Thunderbolts. It's honestly, it's fine. I think I prefer some of the other Safari Zone Pokemon like Pinsir and Golduck. And like for Calm Mind sweeping, I'd rather have Xatu or Gardevoir, obviously. And I think that is going to land Girafarig, but there is a lot of potential with Baton Pass, even on Wallace. So I'm gonna give this one a high B tier. Heracross is an incredible Pokemon for specifically the Elite Four and Juan. So what you can do with Heracross is you pre-damage to 1 HP and give it reversal. And you can sweep 1. If you go for the plus speed nature with Pokeblocks in the Safari Zone, obviously this is a very rare encounter in Safari Zone, so you're probably not going to get this. But if you do, and you hit the plus speed with a Pokeblock, and you get a decent speed IV, you outspeed Kingdra on Juan. It reversal sweeps Sydney. It doesn't do anything on Phoebe, so you need to find something else for that. It reversal sweeps Glacia. It can chain kill with reversal while absorbing all the XP, and we're assuming that you're also XP sharing on Glacia. You're maximizing XP on this, right? If you do all of that and you edge it to just before level 56, so 55 and just almost 56, when starting Sydney, you sweep Sydney, you XP share on Phoebe, you sweep Glacia, and that will make it so that you can kill, stay in reversal range, you kill Shelgon, you kill Flygon, which comes in after, and you bait Altaria, which you can then use Endure on to get back to, so you'll level up on the Flygon, getting you out of reversal range. You Endure on Flygon, you get back down to 1 HP, and then you switch out and you figure out the rest of Drake. And if you do all that, you're still not going to sweep Wallace. Wait, no, you are. I just didn't write this down correctly, right? I don't know where that note went, but wasn't this this was a guaranteed sweep, right? Okay, yeah, so exactly. Okay, yeah, I remember. So what happens on Wallace is you kill like everything until Gyarados comes out with only Milo in the back. And then you can like Endure to check if Gyarados is maybe going to Hyper Beam, and then you can actually keep going. But realistically, what you do in that position is you switch to a sack, you bring out your electric type, you kill the Gyarados, and then you either your electric type beats Melodic, or if it doesn't, then you have it die to Melodic, and then Heracross takes the last kill. So what do you need for the rest of the Elite Four if you have Heracross? If you hit the correct stats, so the sweep's 1 for you, so that's good. So what you'll need is an electric type, someone that beats Phoebe, and someone that beats from the Altaria position, Altaria, Kingdra, Salamence. That's pretty doable. Like any bulky water type is probably going to get you there. I will say, dude, Drake's Kingdra is maybe it's more threatening than Wallace's King. Or sorry, yeah, Drake's Kingdra is more threatening than Juan's Kingdra. This is like one of the most threatening Pokemon in the game. Water normal is there is no Pokemon in Emerald that resists both of those types. It's got Dragon Dance, Body Slam, Surf, and then it's got Smokescreen. I don't think I found a single Pokemon that consistently answers that Kingdra unless it's a Pokemon that solo sweeps Drake. So that being said, unless you find something that can like set up on Altaria, or you have that like super specific Kingdra counter, this is not the perfect Elite Four strategy, but Heracross is one of the best Elite Four Pokemon in the game, assuming you hit the stats that you need, assuming you manage your reversals correctly, assuming you manage your XP correctly. It's not trivial to use, but I think this is probably enough for an S tier rating. Yeah. We can post it on the subreddit, maybe. I couldn't find any use for... Wait, I think there was like one niche use for Macargo, right? This can tank Ice Beams on Juan's Kingdra if you're trying to go for a PP stall. Slugma provides like minimal yawn support on Flannery, provides minimal yawn support on Norman. It's kind of iffy. On Winona, you're not evolved, so you're fucked. On Tate and Liza, it's not really relevant. It's like okay on Sydney. It's actually a decent counter to Glacia's Glalie. You could yawn on Dusclops for Phoebe to enable some kind of support, but it's don't bring this to E4. Don't bring this to anything. It evolves too late. It evolves after Winona. Like, what are we doing, man? I'm going to put this in C tier because this is a decent sack. It can get Flame Body procs, and it can give you yawn support. Although sometimes Flame Body procs are bad depending on the game that you're playing, or on the fight that you're playing. Skarmory, or sorry, Corsola, I don't think does anything, right? You get the super late and it doesn't do anything. The only fight I thought this would do something on was Glacia, but no chance. Nope, this is F tier. Skarmory is pretty good. It's useless in E4, unfortunately, because physical walls just don't do anything in E4 unless you're like trying to PP stall Drake's Kingdra or Wailord specifically. So that could be a niche. Or if you have a sweeper, but you need a little bit of chip damage because your attack isn't high enough, like Spike's setup could enable you to do some Swallow sweeps. For example, or like maybe your Heracross isn't, maybe your Heracross is like minus attack or something, right? Like maybe it's Jolly, or is that you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so that would be its use in late game, but early game, oh boy, this can solo Norman if you just always leer on Slacking's attack counters. So that he on Slacking's attack turn, so that he doesn't counter. You need to get like moderately lucky on Spinna, but that's fine. This is probably the safest Altaria counter in the game on Winona. It's really good on Tate and Liza, because it's got super effective Steel Wings, which actually do a lot of damage. Skarmory has a lot of attack, and then it's Earthquake immune, right, and also resists Psychic. But yeah, then on Juan, it's just like about spikes, or if you're trying to PP stall something specifically in the Elite Four. All around, this sounds like a pretty damn good B tier Pokemon to me. Kingdra is really interesting. There's too many mentions of Kingdra in this document because you fight like 3 of them. Hold on. There's 3 of them? Bug. Where's this fucking guy? Did I miss it? All right, Kingdra, Juan, can use this plus an ice resist to PP stall the enemy Kingdra. Because it 4 times resists the surf. You can sweep Phoebe with Rain Dance Surf. You can't really get any setup on Glacia. You can spam D-Dance on Shelgon, similarly to Gyarados. The problem is, like, this is just kind of worse Gyarados in, like, every way. and you can't make the setup work on Wallace. So like this is just not a good Pokemon, honestly. It doesn't really do anything that no other Pokemon can do. I didn't test Seadra because fuck that. I think like it's just fine. It's Kingdra is such. I fucking hate Kingdra and Nuzlocke. It's such a goddamn boring Pokemon, man. It just doesn't do anything special. And it's like weak to the dragon moves on like Drake and stuff like that. You could use this to 1v1 his Kingdra, but that's not always gonna work. I think this feels to me like about a B tier, like mid B tier. I think is just where Kingdra will always belong. I don't think Donphan did literally anything for me. You can defense curl, roll out, sweep Winona if you're looking to have some fun. If you have like a good backup plan, I guess. But it's also Safari Zone opportunity cost. This is F tier. I think Muck is a little bit better here. I think Corsola is a little bit worse. I think it's something like this. Getting a call, y'all. Hold on. Am Apparat.
Was geht, Bratki? Ich habe dir eine Nachricht auf WhatsApp geshootet. Wie sieht's aus, wenn ich mein Auto bei dir abstellen oder nicht?
Willst du es über Nacht abstellen?
Ja.
Also ich weiß, dass Tim, als er letztes Mal hier gechillt hat. Warte kurz. Sorry, important work call. Okay. Where were we? I think we're done with like the Gen 2 guys, right? Okay, Sceptile. The solo's Roxanne, so that's important. Probably if you don't hit like low defense is like one of the better Roxanne counters. It's like an okay special attacker on Brawly. If you teach Bullet CTM, you need special attackers on Brawly to finish off Makuhita. Watson is just too inconsistent. Flannery does nothing. This can theoretically solo Norman if you get really lucky, but you don't even, you need like 1 or 2 crits, but with Leaf Blade over a long period of time is actually not that unlikely. This can also, if you teach Dig to this can be your slacking counter because your Dig user needs to outspeed slacking. You need to give it Lepa Berry because you do so little damage with Dig. Doesn't do anything on Winona. Pretty good on Tate and Liza because it does a bunch of damage to a bunch of things. It's got like some opening stuff on Juan where you like don't pre-damage, you Sunny Day, and then you Solar Beam, and you kind of have to dodge like an Ice Beam crit. And then like Kingdra, you kind of have to hit into the double team. It's like not a good line, but it's got like decent win percentage if you're looking to just easily kind of get through and then have some have some stuff in the back. There's different ways to open that fight on Juan. You could also pre-damage into Overgrow and Giga Drain on the Kingdra, which can like get you out of Ice Beam range, I think. This also prevents the Kingdra from double teaming because it sees kill with the Ice Beam, right? You can also just keep it like in the back pre-damage as like a revenge killer if you really need it. It just... You can chain the 3 water types on Glacia because of how switch in AI works, because it switches in the Pokemon with the most effective move and the least effective typing, so that's always going to be the water ice types before the ice types. So you can like pre-damage to Overgrow and kill Celio, and Walrein, which also has the added benefit of giving the explosion Glalie last. You just have to find something to kill those Glalies with. So if you're missing something on Glalie, it can do on Glacia, it can do it. This can Sunny Day and sack into Wailord to enable stuff like Pinsir, or Gyarados, or any of your other sweepers that you might want to sweep with. You can obviously also Sunny Day, and then you can use a different Pokemon to Sunny Day and sack, and then you could with Solar Beam kill Wailord, Milotic, and then like sack to Tentacruel. Or like switch on the Tentacruel and then save it for Whiscash. This Pokemon's just not good, man. I'm sorry. It's got like some cool stuff, and it can set up stuff for you, but I just there's just better grass types. Like if you're looking for a Roxanne answer, which is the one thing that this does really well in early game, then why not pick Mudkip? Because that also gives you insurance against Watson. And then in the late game, it's just, what are we doing, man? Like, I think it's C tier. I think it's high C tier, but it's C tier. It's got a lot of opportunity cost. Blaziken is interesting because it doesn't do anything all game unless you're on Watson and are willing to gather all the money that you need for the flamethrower TM. There's a post on my subreddit that explains how to do that. And then you can use this as your Magneton counter. You can use this as a Skarmory counter on Winona. You could kill 5 Pokemon and then sack to Kingdra against Juan, which gives you like a decent position. I think the cool thing about Blaziken is that this very reliably solos with bulk up setup on Sydney, because you can just white herb and kill the Mightyena. On Phoebe, because you can just force the Dusclops to curse with something else and then set up your bulk ups and win with Earthquake. On Glacia, because you just need to click bulk up once while he hails and then you Brick Break and you win. And then you're done, right? And then you could use this as a Sunny Day sack on turn 1 on Wallace to go from there. But the nice thing about Blaziken is kind of like, okay, I know I'm beating Sydney, Phoebe, Glacia no matter what, and I'm going to dedicate the rest of my 5 Pokemon to beating Drake and Wallace, which you should be doing anyway, but sometimes you got to bring like another Pokemon for Glacia. Sydney and Wallace, Sydney and Phoebe are kind of whatever, but like you wanted to be able to dedicate as many Pokemon as possible for Wallace and Drake, and Blaziken allows you to do that, and you know that you can do that from the start of the run, so that's kind of cool. The obvious problem being is that this is the only Pokemon that forces you to sometimes just lose on Roxanne, although that's really unlikely. You're pretty likely to get a Meryl or a Lotad or whatever you trade for C-Dot, or C-Dot itself, I guess, which isn't super likely. Or even, as we're going to get into, Poochyena, which can actually solo the Nose Pass pretty reliably. Blaziken is so interesting. I really like the like super easy, straightforward, okay, just bring 5 Pokemon for Wallace Drake it provides. And I think the the cost of early game is not that high, especially if you're willing to get that flamethrower TM for Magneton, or even just play a little bit risky on the Magneton with it. I don't think that this is a terrible pick. But also, like, Swampert provides a lot of value on the Elite Four as well, although very different value. Swampert's definitely way better, but I think that Blaziken deserves a B tier spot. Okay, Swampert. I think Swampert is slightly overrated in this game. It's a bulky water type that doesn't resist water moves, but it's also got insane stats. It's got Stab Earthquake to hit the other water types. It's got so much bulk. It ice beams to death the like Drake guys. Doesn't really do anything on Wallace, but like it's like a Tentacruel counter sometimes on Wallace, right? Like this can do stuff. Like this could 1v1 King Draw on Drake, like not super realistically, but it's got a pretty good shot. Like this is a great Drake Pokemon. And most importantly, it is the only guaranteed way that you have of easily getting through Watson. And I think that alone gives it a high A tier spot. I think it's just above the electric type tier. Mightyana's kind of interesting. Poochyena can actually pretty reliably beat Nosepass, which is kind of cool. Which is a big reason why Blaziken gets to be as high as it is. But after that, it just gets so hard. Like the thing on Roxanne, the thing that's kind of cool with the Nosepass is it stops Rock Tombing you if it doesn't see kill if you're slower. So because you two-shot the Geodudes, right? You can Sand Attack the Nosepass to like make it way less likely to hit. You're slower after one Rock Tomb, so it's gonna so Nosepass is just gonna tackle you. So with an Oranberry and some Sand Attack and like 6 Sand Attacks into Nosepass, you're probably gonna actually win that fight. And it gets Dark type tier, which is really important for Tate and Liza. The Tate and Liza section is going to explain the Dark type section is kind of going to be special because there's a whole video that we're going to link that shows why Tate and Liza is 100% consistent. Sharpedo and Crawdon and also Shiftry are kind of better Dark types, or Cacturn are all better Dark types for Tate and Liza, but Dark types are really, really, really important for Tate and Liza because there's only like 2 attacks that can realistically damage you if you're a Dark type in that fight. So I think being a Dark type alone in this game, plus the fact that this can actually solo Nosepass, is going to give Mightyena the status of a B tier Pokemon. Lanoon is another candidate for best Pokemon in the game. So this fucking outspeeds and one-shots Voltorb on Watson. Why don't we start with that? So you don't have to worry about explosion at all. It can then also remove the electric and be like full HP. This can like do decent damage against Manic Trick. You could roll out Sweep on Flannery, but why would you do that? I don't know why this says can loop Slacking with another fake out user. That's not true, but this can solo Slacking because it's usually faster, and you can teach this Dig, and it actually has pretty decent damage. And if you teach this Bolt Beam on Winona, you just sweep. This just sweeps Winona. Worth noting that if you want to have the Belly Drum sweep on Juan, which this can do, this can easily Belly Drum sweep Juan. You do have to delay the evolution until after Winona. Which means you don't get the benefits of the Norman fight and the Watson fight and the Winona fight, which that's like the only kind of caveat for Lanoon is it sounds like it's just kind of from mid game onwards, just good for every gym. But you can only rely on it for Juan if you get it late, or sorry, if you delay the evolution. Worth noting that Zigzagoon is actually kind of rare in Emerald, especially if you don't get the Route 101 encounter, because that's where you get your starter. You shouldn't. But whether or not you sweep Juan with it, you choose to either sweep Juan for this or use this as support for the other gyms. This Pokemon is absolutely fucking nuts in the Elite Four, even if you ban Substitute like I do. Sydney is kind of problematic, but whatever. You can find something else for Sydney. You Belly Drum and spam Shadow Ball on Phoebe because she always protects turn 1. You Belly Drum and sweep Glacia because she always hails turn 1. You Belly Drum and he doesn't always protect turn 1, but if he doesn't, it's Rock Tomb, so you can just go White Herb and then you sweep. So it sweeps it sweeps Phoebe, Glacia, Drake. And then if you just lead with a sacrificial Pokemon that sets up Sunny Day, you can Belly Drum on the guaranteed Rain Dance turn from Wailord, and you can sweep Wallace. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is an S tier Pokemon. And I think it's better than Gyarados. It's really close between these two for best Pokemon in the game. It's really close. I have to hurry up a little bit. Beautifly doesn't do anything. It's one of the worst Pokemon in the game. Dustox has some early game value against Brawly, but falls off way quicker than you would think. This guy is kind of good with Lepa Berry, man. It's like horrible on Nose Pass because Shield Dust means you don't get Rock Tomb defense dropped. so it always wants to Rock Tomb you. But this is like pretty decent on Watson if you have a Magneton answer, because you get Moonlight, Protect, Poison Sting, Psybeam, and then you just equip a Lepa Berry and you just kind of fucking go off. Don't use this on Flannery. 1v1 Slacking because it gets Protect. Just use a Lepa Berry. And after that, it's just kind of too inconsistent and too low stats. I think this is a premium. It's like decent early game, but then like immediately falls off. I think this is a great C tier Pokemon. Ludicolo was kind of disappointing. This guy evolves way too late. Probably the freest Roxanne in the game. If you're using Bullet CTM, it's okay on Brawly. You can like fake out loop with another Pokemon on Norman. It doesn't get Water Moves for Flannery. You can use this with Ice Beam on Altaria because it comes into Earthquake, but I don't know. It's kind of fake. Like, I don't know. It just like, you'd think that this matches up really well into like all the water type trainers, but they have so many water types and you only have 5 Giga Drain PP. So like, what are we doing, right? Like, this Pokemon's not that good, man. This is like a C tier Pokemon, I think. Shiftry is in Dark type tier, but also it gets Growth and is probably one of the easiest Pokemon to set up on Whiscash if you're doing the standard electric opening. I think Shiftry And it beats Roxanne. And that's it. So I think that sounds... It doesn't do anything else on E4, although you can sweep Phoebe with it, I guess. Yeah, but then you bring out the Whiscash with Staring Electric Opening, you set up 6 growths, you Synthesis when you can, and then you Sunny Day and Solar Beam and you win. Which I think makes this a A-tier Pokemon. Swellow? Man, if you get a... I'm going to say this. If you get a plus attack high IV Swellow, it can go crazy, but the average Swellow falls short of so many kills. Like, Guts Facade is just not it in this game. This is just not where Swellow wants to be. And if you don't get the good stats, like the really good stats, this just doesn't fucking do anything. It's so feast or famine. I'm going to put it, because of the potential, in like B tier. This is a C tier Pokemon. I'm sorry. I just don't really see it. Pelipper is really interesting. Pelipper enables that like batshit insane Golduck sweep that we talked about. Pelipper is also not good on Roxanne. This is really good on Brawly. You get Growl for the bulk up users. You get Wing Attack. You get a special move in case they have too many defense boosts. It resists fighting, and they're all like fighting types. Super versatile Pokemon for that fight. One of the better Brawly Pokemon that doesn't sweep it. Oh yeah, sorry. Beautifly sweeps Brawly. It's low C tier. It gets Protect to beat Slacking on Norman. You have a lot of control over turn number in Flannery because you have Protect for like Light Screen and Sunny Day stuff. It's probably not going to solo, but like it's going to do really, really, really well on that fight. It can sweep Winona with Ice Beam and Shockwave and Surf. Kind of. It is the other Pokemon besides Dark types that enables the Tate and Liza solve that we're going to talk about. And then, yeah, the only thing it does in E4 is the thing that I mentioned with dying to a Dragon Danced Gyarados to force because it always baits Hyper Beam, so you're forcing a recharge turn on which you can psych up with Golduck, I guess. I think it's a very high B tier. Looks so happy. Okay, Gardevoir is insane. Best Psychic type in the game. Best Calm Mind user in the game. It gets Calm Mind super early. Gets Psychic super early. What the fuck were they cooking with this Pokemon's moveset? This Pokemon's S tier. Super, super good. Throughout, like, the entire game. Like... It needs a little bit of luck to solo on Brawly because you're still a Ralts. This can actually counter Magneton because you get Calm Mind. It can solo Flannery if you get lucky. Unless you're really fast, you're not going to sweep Norman. But if you're really fast and have Trace, you can Trace own tempo from Spinda and it can't confuse you and you can set up. It's kind of cool. Winona you can just sweep. It's got really cool Imprison tech on Tate and Liza, where you imprison like Psychic and Calm Mind and they can't use it for the rest of the fight. And then some like 50% of if you have Trace, 50% of the time you actually Trace Levitate. This easily set up sweeps 1. This pretty easily set up sweeps Glacia. Drake is kind of hard because you don't have that much speed, but if you're pretty fast, you can do it. I don't know why. I think my Wallace and Juan notes may be traded here. But yeah, this should have a pretty good time setting up on Wallace and doing a fuck ton of damage. It's not like a guaranteed sweep or anything, but it can do it. I think, honestly, the more I talk about it, I'm going to put this in like high A tier. It's pretty close to... I think it's probably S. Yeah. It doesn't like super solo sweep a lot of stuff, but like it provides so much value. It's kind of insane. Like you can always get out of a situation with Calm Mind Gardevoir, I feel like. Masquerain is not in the game. Breloom, man. What a trip. I thought for a while this was the best Pokemon in the game. Shroomish clean sweeps Roxanne. Shroomish gets scary close to being able to solo Brawly. Leech Seed is the best move in the game, man. It's not Spore, it's Leech Seed. We can use this part of the video to talk a little bit about Spore and why I think it's not that good in Nuzlocke, but that's for another time. If you're willing to invest your bulk up TM and just kind of Leech Seed, you can just kind of bulk up and spam Mach Punch on Norman. But if you're going for the Spore delay, which you might, Shroomish plus like any Intimidate Mon kind of beats Norman. It's fucking insane, man. Cue the fucking B-roll. Jesus Christ. Like, holy. This can even abuse a Gen 3 bug where slacking loafs on turn 1 if the previous Mon died to Leech Seed. That's true. It doesn't really do much on Juan because of like Ice Beams and stuff. And then E4, everything just kind of starts falling apart for this Pokemon. It's kind of hard to utilize on Sydney. But you can do it. Like you Leech Seed. If you like, yeah, like you Leech Seed and then you like swap back and forth until you like don't get Sand Attack dropped, and then you just like bulk up and with +1 you kind of sweep with Mach Punch. If you have Spore, if you did the Spore delay, it's actually easier. I think Spore delay is probably worth it on this, but I wouldn't bring this to E4. It doesn't really help you with any of the important fights. It's kind of hard because you need +3 to KO Walrein on Glacia. It's kind of hard to get to. But with Spore you can do it. There's too many flamethrowers on Drake. There's too many ice beams on Wallace. But this could set up on... I think this can set up on Whiscash and do a lot of damage. All in all, honestly, I'm most impressed by how much Shroomish can do without evolving. Like, Shroomish does crazy things on Norman. It's kind of fucking insane. I'm going to give Breloom like a low A tier rating here. Okay, Vigoroth and Slacking are going to have different ratings, but they're actually surprisingly close. Slacking just kind of... So you get Vigoroth for Brawly, but you take too much damage from the fighting type moves. But man, after that, dude, like it gets Yawn, Encore, and Slack Off. This is a good support move on a good support Pokemon on every single Pokemon in the game. Vigoroth it's super fast. If you give it your bulk up TM, it can sweep a ton of fights. But honestly, like, you can sweep Juan with Vigoroth if you set up on Love Disc, if you get good RNG and decent stats. It can solo Sydney and Phoebe. And the problem with Vigoroth is it kind of can sweep these fights, but you kind of need Brick Break and you kind of need Shadow Ball and you kind of want all your support moves between Yawn, Slack Off, and Encore. It just doesn't work out because Brick Break is like a one-time use TM, but you kind of want it for Sydney, but then you also kind of want it for Glacia, and then this kind of doesn't really do anything on Drake except for like provide some support against Kingdra or something. It's kind of hard to find an entry point for like bulk up Vigoroth, but like throughout everything else, this Pokemon it can solo sweep Winona with bulk up. The utility on Norman is insane. This can also like solo sweep that fight. Like, this Pokemon's really fucking good. It just doesn't have that extra sauce on the Elite Four to hit A tier. But what I will say is that what you could do, Slacking is usually kind of worse, although you could use it as a support Pokemon. It does have crazy stats, and remember, you can just switch this in, use a support move, and switch back out. Don't use Hyper Beam with this. What you can do, and what in my opinion makes Slacking like actually also be A tier, I'm just going to put these together because you can kind of choose when you evolve. You can go into the Elite Four with a 1 HP slacking with Flail and have your Wallace plan be sack 5 revenge kill with Flail every time. So you open, you Flail, you switch on the loaf turn, you sack. If you're doing the strat, make sure that Ludicolo always sees kills. Just don't heal your Pokemon after Drake. Make sure that Ludicolo and Gyarados always see a kill after you switch so that they can't Dragon Dance / double team. If you do this, you always beat Wallace. It is kind of high risk, high reward though, because if anything dies before that point, you kind of need to figure some stuff out, but you should have other stuff for Wallace as well, so it's probably fine. Okay, Ninjask I thought was going to be better. Swords Dance Baton Pass to stuff like Crawdaunt or Armaldo can be really good, like your battle armor mons. Being able to pass speed in general is really good, just like Protect Baton Pass. It doesn't get Baton Pass until 1. But it enables a bunch of stuff. Crawdaunt's a guaranteed encounter, right? Crawdaunt is a really good Baton Pass receiver. This doesn't do much early, but Nincada can also help you PP stall on Watson, which is kind of nice. And I think Ninjask doesn't really do much else, to be honest. It's kind of hard to set up on Drake. There's also something to talk about here where Speed Boost is actually one of the only abilities that you can have that, because of a really weird weather bug in Gen 3, means that the Celio is not going to hail turn 1 on Glacia. Like, it can find a setup on Sydney, it can find a setup on Phoebe. It could find a setup on Glacia, maybe. Like, you can at least pass 1 speed boost, or like a Swords Dance and a speed boost if you go like Lumberry and tank the Body Slam or the Ice Ball. You can find stuff, so it's probably going to be good. Drake, it's really hard to find a setup on, and then this can definitely find setup angles on Whiscash if you do the standard electric opening. Do you see, by the way, why electric types are A tier? They enable so much stuff on Wallace, it's crazy. I think Ninjask is high B tier. But I didn't test it with enough other receivers, so I'm going to say it has potential. Nah, this is probably around where Swampert is, actually. Shedinja is banned, both because it's an illegal encounter, because it's considered a dupe, because it's same evolution family, and because it has the same Met location as another Pokemon, but most importantly, because it's the most boring Pokemon to play in the entire game. I think Exploud had like 1 niche, right? It's going 1v1 Altaria with Ice Beam. It's a great sack on Juan. Yeah, White Herb Taunt Howl Brick Break sweeps Sydney. Also easily sweeps Phoebe for the same reason. But after that, it's just too slow and too frail, so don't bring this to E4. So the only niches it has is on fights that are solvable with other stuff anyway. I'm going to give this a low C tier rating. Hariyama. I think this is one of the best Pokemon in the game. It's okay on Brawly, whatever. This is excellent on Watson because you get the evolution. Remember, you can repel manip for this, by the way. I think you can get this guaranteed. If you're Guts, you can solo Watson, but Thick Fat can also be a good ability. I forgot to make notes for this on Flannery, but like Thick Fat is going to be really good. Machamp is a little bit better, but like you can do stuff with this. You can do a good amount of damage. You're just kind of missing good fighting type moves at this point. A good Hariyama can solo Norman. You fake out into Arm Thrust the Spinda. You Vital Throw the other two. Then you knock off Slackings like Citrus Berry. And then you just like play around counter by only Vital Throwing on Loaf turns. Pretty easy stuff. It can do stuff on Winona, but not really. One of my favorite sets of the entire testing phase was Rest, Sleep Talk, Vital Throw, Focus Punch on Hariyama. This can easily solo Juan. It's really fun if you have guts, because if you Sleep Talk, you actually get the guts boost. And there's just like a Focus Punch is also just a really good move in this game because AI really likes to use non-attacking moves. And Vital Throw can't miss the Kingdra no matter how much it double teams. And Focus Punch can't be hit from Sleep Talk. So every turn you Sleep Talk the Kingdra, you have a 50% chance to be hitting Vital Throw. It's Rest or Vital Throw. It can't hit Focus Punch. So this is a pretty good set. Like I said, Machamp can do the same thing, but Hariyama does it better because it's bulkier. This can pretty easily handle Sydney. Just, avoid the Intimidate, spam Vital Throw. You don't care if you're sand attacked, you win. You can do a bulk up sweep on Phoebe, but then you're not bringing the Rest Talk set. It sweeps Glacia super consistently with like focus with the Rest Talk set, the focused Rest Talk set I called it here. Especially if you're guts, but Thick Fat obviously also helps on this fight. Just look out for Explosion Glalie. The Rest Talk set with Brick instead of Focus Punch. Might have to review the VOD on this exactly, but like the Rest Talk set can actually solo Drake, which is fucking crazy. You can also gamble turn 1 against Wallace with Focus Punch, or you could even do the Sunny Day sack and just kill the Wailord, and then this Pokemon can get like pretty far too. I don't think this Pokemon is S tier, but it's got some amazing sauce. I think it's a high A tier Pokemon for sure. The problem is on Wallace is that this is huge setup fodder for Gyarados, so you need a good plan for switch into Gyarados and win. Also, yes, Speed Pass Belly Drum, or even just Swords Dance Speed Pass is also a thing with Ninjask. But it doesn't even have to be Belly Drum, but it could be against certain matchups because you were just so damn bulky. So that's another thing that could happen. It's a little bit inconsistent, I will say. I'm going to have to speed through this a little bit. Nose Pass actually kind of has a little bit of sauce. It's like the only rock type in the game that gets Rock Slide, which is kind of cool. It kind of cooks the fuck out of Flannery and does like pretty good stuff on Norman. On Winona is kind of when it starts to lose some sauce, but can do stuff there, but that's kind of it. This actually has a really good matchup into Norman, like really, really, really good. I think it's it's not a ground type, so, but like, yeah, I think this is actually like pretty nice. You know what? Put Nose Pass over Swallow. Delcatty has exactly one niche, and that's cute charm and counter manipulation because gender matters in this game. Which makes it the bottom of C tier. Sableye is really interesting. It's both a dark type and a ghost type. Solo's Brawly, Solo's Norman. Really good for Tate and Liza. After that, it's kind of useless, but you can use it to PP stall either like Drake's Kingdra or like Wailord or something. I think this is it's a really unique Pokemon. It's a really unique early game Pokemon. I think high B tier for sure. It's definitely worse than Girafarig. Girafarig is low A tier. The ordering of this isn't going to be exact, but whatever. Mawile is horrible. You only get it in Victory Road. Aggron is kind of ass. This has almost no niche except for like PP stall stuff on like some of the normal type users or on Watson with Nincada or something, or that's pretty much it. Like it's pretty good on Norman, I guess. C tier for sure. I don't think this is much better than Nose Pass at all. It's decent on Tate and Liza, I guess. Metacham is not in the game. Manic Trick is an electric type tier. Plusle and Minun are the best electric types in the game, especially Minun because it also gets Charm. Both of these get Encore. Both of this get Agility, Baton Pass. These have crazy, crazy potential. You get them super early. You can get them for Brawly with Spark. They can do crazy damage. They do well in almost every single fight. These are high A tier Pokemon. Like, I would rank these like around where Starmie is, I think. Probably higher than that. I think this is like around where Vigoroth is, to be honest. And then Plusle is worse because it doesn't get Charm. It gets Fake Tears, which is just worse. And it's also less defensive and more offensive, but that offense doesn't really matter. I would put Plusle probably somewhere around here. Okay. Illumise is S tier as fuck. It's the best support Pokemon in the game. I think there's no other Pokemon that I found that does something on every single fight in the game. It enables like Flatter into Psych Up setups, which is kind of cool, but that's super niche. Charm plus Encore is ridiculous. Wish, Moonlight, like you can PB stall a bunch of mons. You can this enables like every setup sweeper in the game in like a super meaningful way. And additionally, it is one of two ways in this game where an encounter enables you to get more encounters, because you can breed Illumise with a male bug or humanoid bug group guy and get Volbeat. And you just hatch it in like any city or whatever, so your Met location is new, and Volbeat is not the same evolution family as Illumise, so it's not a dupe, so it's a legal encounter. And Illumise plus Volbeat is sauce, bro. Dude, Volbeat is on its own an A tier Pokemon. This has a lot of crazy sweep potential, unlike Juan. It does a fuck ton on Norman. It sweeps Sydney. Like, getting early Tail Glow is nuts. This gets Thunderbolt. Illumise and this have perfect synergy because Illumise can set up for Volbeat. I think Volbeat on its own is like mid A tier. It's probably around like low, is around where Shiftry is, I think. But Illumise lets you get a mid A tier Pokemon guaranteed. Isn't that fucking crazy? And Illumise on its own, even if that wasn't the case, Illumise would be S tier. I can make the argument that Illumise is the best Pokemon in the game. It just depends on how you define it. Roselia's not in the game. Swalot provides decent support on like a lot of fights. I think this is like a low B tier Pokemon. It just gets a lot of sauce, man. Like this guy's like, even though it doesn't evolve, it's like good on Watson. Like it does a lot. Yawn is just a really fucking good move. Sharpedo is arguably the best dark type for Tate and Liza. And it can do some stuff, but honestly, I would much rather have Shiftry. I'm gonna do something crazy here and put Sharpedo in high B tier. It's a good Pokemon, but Wailord is a good bulky water type on Drake, and it enables you to get Regis, which on its own gives it a high B tier rating. This can also PP stall Juan's Kingdra. I think giving you Regis gives you A tier. Camerupt, I didn't find a single use for, I believe. Let me check. Like even agility, like para agility into eruption sweep doesn't work. It's a Scarm counter on Winona if you need that, so we'll give it that. Torkoal is a lot better. Torkoal solos Norman, which is nice, but after that it kind of still falls off. It's decent on like Winona and stuff, but I don't think that gets it past C tier, unfortunately. Flygon is fucking dog shit, man. This Pokemon sucks ass. It can be like a Tentacruel counter on Wallace. And it can bait Hyper Beam for you, so it has similar utility on Wallace to Pelipper. And it is one of the better Kingdra counters, I will say that. It just does a lot of damage to it. If you have a fast one, you can beat Shelgon and Flygon on Kingdra, bring out Altaria, which might give you a decent position. Honestly, all that put together, and being one of the better Drake Kingdra counters, which is something really hard to beat, I think that alone kind of makes you a B tier. Plus the potential Goldex synergy on Wallace, I think makes this a B tier Pokemon. Cacturne is really good. Cacturne is like an amazing baton pass receiver. This guy loves Gorbis. If you get really lucky, you can sweep Wallace with Giga Drain, Ingrained Growth, and Needle Arm. Sweeps Glacia after a baton pass. Solos Phoebe. I think this is the best desert encounter, like by far, and you can repel Manip for it. This can sweep Juan with Gorbis set up. And it's like perfect for Tate and Liza. It's not better than Shiftry because Shiftry is kind of self-sufficient on Wallace at least. I'm going to give this a top of B tier. Altaria can set up on Whiscash on Wallace. The problem with Dragon Dance Altaria is it usually just doesn't have enough damage, and you don't want to use your return TM on this. And if you do, it's like whatever. You can use your Earthquake TM, I guess, but that has its own problems. This is like very similar to Kingdra, I think. Zangoose is not in the game. Seviper is fucking horrible. Lunatone is not in the game. Solrock is one of the best Altaria answers in the game, and it can roll out Sweep Flannery, and that gives it a C tier rating. Whiscash just it's fine. It's like worse Swampert in every way. It just doesn't have the stats. It gets natural rest though, which is kind of nice, but it's just a standard bulky water. And if you're a bulky water and do nothing else, that probably gives you like a mid B tier, I would say. It's not a standard bulky water because it doesn't resist water, right? It has all the bad things about Swampert with like none of the good things. So, but I mean, like none of the good things is not true because it's still like an Ice Beam, Earthquake, Surf user. I think like low B tier seems appropriate for this guy. Crawdon is excellent. It's a dark type, obviously. It's one of the best dark types for Tate and Liza. But it's also the best baton pass receiver in the game, both from Ninjask and from Gorbis, especially because it gets Swords Dance itself. It gets shell armor half of the time. So Gorbis can pass a bunch of defense boosts to it, and then it's like unkillable. And you can pass it agility and Swords Dance up and just kind of sweep shit. It's a little bit hard to enable. You could even pass Calm Mind and agility to this if you really wanted to. It doesn't get Crunch in Emerald, which is kind of a shame, but this Pokemon is fucking excellent, and I would put it like around here. Claydol has one exact niche, and that's like beat Flygon and beat like Flygon and Altaria on Drake, and then boom on Wailord, and choose your next switch in so you can manip the fight off of that, because you choose your switch in before your opponent in Gen 3 against the AI. So the Gen 3 decision is based on what you send in next, so you have a lot of control after you boom the Wailord, and that makes it a low C tier Pokemon. These guys are all worse than Seaking. Cradley has one niche, and that's it can sometimes solo Norman. Welcome to a low C tier, my friend, but it was a very fun solo. Armaldo is a fantastic Gorbis Baton Pass receiver because it's always battle armor. It also solos Norman. It kind of, you can teach the rest team to this and it kind of becomes unkillable if you pass like agility and a bunch of iron defenses and amnesias to it. It's super unique. It's kind of hard to pull off, and its move pull is fucking awful. But I think that alone kind of makes it A tier. It's got a lot of potential. Melodic is surprisingly not that great in E4. It's really good backup. It's solos Winona. It's fantastic 20 recover PP, fucking refresh, fucking surf and ice beam immediately. This guy's really good, really good. One of the best bulky water types in the game, but it just doesn't quite have the sauce in the Elite Four, I think. And for that, I do think it's better than Swampert, though, by quite a bit. And I think it's better than Tentacruel. I don't think it's better than Starmie or Golduck. But it's close. I could be convinced that it's higher. Kecleon goes into the very specific Kingdra counter tier alongside Wobbuffet. Although Wobbuffet is contingent on a speed boost. And then Seaking is contingent on actually hitting your Horn Drill. But yeah, you can like use skill swap plus color change in like really fucked up ways to fuck up the Kingdra really hard. It's really fun. One of the most fun strats I found in all the testing, or that we found in all the testing. Grumpig is really fucking good. It's got like Psych Up Flatter synergy with Illumise. It can do a lot. If it's thick fat, it can do a lot of stuff on Flannery. For E4 is just too slow. If you're decently fast, you can sweep Juan with it, though. I think this is like a low B tier Pokemon. Dusclops. Oh, cast form is really interesting. It solos Winona, but after that it becomes kind of ass. I think this is unfortunately C tier. It's also got a lot of opportunity cost because you're giving up Melodic. I love this Pokemon though. It was really fun. This is so fun to use on Winona. It's fucking insane. Banette and Dusclops are both in the specific Kingdra counter tier. They kind of require a sack though. But you sack and then you curse and it's self-targeting, so you don't care about double teams and you always beat. When I say specific Kingdra counter, I mean Juan's Kingdra, not Wallace's Kingdra. Tropius is also in that tier. There's like a sack strategy you can do with it, where you lead it with like low HP, and then you like Sunny Day and Solar Beam, and you let the Kingdra, you like kill a bunch of shit, and you let Kingdra kill you, and then you can send something in like Banette or something, without Kingdra ever having double teamed. Sorry, I meant Drake's Kingdra, not Wallace. Yeah. Absol is pretty good. It has a bunch of Swords Dance sweeps. Sorry, Chime Mech. We'll do Absol real quick. The solo sweeps Winona. It's a dark type for Titan Liza. You can probably sweep Juan with it. You can probably sweep Sydney with it. You can easily sweep Phoebe because you get Taunt naturally and you get Shadow Ball. You can pretty easily sweep Glacia with it. You can run White Herb for Rock Tomb on Shelgon and then sweep everything on Drake except for Salamence, but this one's pretty shaky. You probably need backup and good stats, like a Bulky Water with Ice Beam or something. You probably need like answers to Flygon and Shelgon and Salamence if you're doing this, but like it's gonna get you pretty far. So far, it's kind of like a worse Heracross a little bit, but on Wallace, there's just not a lot of setup windows. Not on the Whiscash, not on the Wailord. So I think this is just like around where Golduck is. Glalie is fucking useless. Walreign's one of the best Pokemon in the game. This is probably the easiest Pokemon to use in the S tier, maybe alongside Gyarados. Just teach this your Toxic TM. It naturally learns Rest. It's immune to Hail, which is really nice on Glacia, obviously. It can't get Frozen, which is really nice for stalling all those water types. Teach it Growl for Juan's Kingdra and just stall it out. It's not super safe to use this on Drake, I will say. You need some backup, but like you can like, if you're willing to get a little bit lucky and play just like Rest, Toxic, PP stall, you can beat most fights with this. I think it's the best defensive Pokemon in the game. Chimecho. It's like an OK Altaria counter. It can set up on Juan, but you need to get like... You can set up to +6 with Calm Mind on Juan, but I mean, you are Earthquake immune, which is kind of nice. You're just not fast enough is the problem. Like, Xatu is just better than this in every way. Yeah, this... All the sweeps with this with Calm Mind are super cope. Where the fuck is it? There. This is like high C tier. Huntail's the worst Pokemon in the game because it means you're not getting Relicanth, which means you're not getting Regis, and you're also not getting Gorbis, which means you're not doing any of the cool Baton Pass stuff. And it doesn't do anything. Gorbis is alongside Ninjask for Baton Pass shenanigans. It's a little bit better because I think it enables more stuff, but it's around the same, I think. Relicanth is doesn't do anything in any fights, but it's B tier for enabling you to get Registeel and Regice, I guess. Sorry, it's actually just A tier. Spinda unranked. Oh no, what a fucking shame. This Pokemon doesn't do anything. I didn't test Love Disc. Man, I wonder what its viability is. Okay. Salamence is surprisingly ass. It doesn't get Dragon Dance. It's an egg move in Gen 3. I think it's always an egg move. It can like fill some spots on Wallace. It gets pretty deep into Drake with like Dragon Claws, but it's a decent Kingdra answer. Probably one of the better ones. It can solo sweep Sydney. And that's about it. Like, it's a better Flygon, kind of, but not by a lot. But it can like fill out some stuff and like help you out a lot. You can use it as a Ludi counter with Aerial Ace. I think it's low A tier. Regirock is fucking horrible. This guy doesn't do fucking anything. It's insane. You can bring it to E4 if you want, but why waste a slot on it? And there's no other fight where this makes sense, so I'm gonna put this in F tier. The thing that makes it different from the other Regis is it doesn't get amnesia, which is huge. Regice is like high A tier. This guy can do a lot, especially if you teach a Chris to tank some more physical moves. This can do a fuck ton in E4. It's like similar to Melodic. You do need to use your rest TM. Registeel is one of the best Pokemon in the game. It's like top 3, I think. The crazy thing is, the set I tested was Return, Rest, Amnesia, Curse. And the amount of crits you can tank with this is actually crazy. Like, Registeel actually has really good special defense. And you just equip a Shell Bell for more healing. And what was so crazy is that I was like playing this on speed and I was like, holy fuck, this is so good. This is unbeatable. And then I realized I hadn't even maxed my return power. Return was at like 70% of what it should be doing, which would have also been more Shell Bell healing. This Pokemon is fucking ridiculous. And at that point, I already said this is one of the best Pokemon in the game. So I lied when I said that Walrein is the best defensive Pokemon in the game. It is actually Registeel. You can bring both, because this learns Rest, and this doesn't need Toxic. And then Rayquaza's overleveled. And the rest is unobtainable, obviously. But we don't have to talk about these. But I guess we'll mention it in the video. And then also note that during the honorable mention section where we talk about the banned Pokemon, we'll also talk about banning Double Team and Substitute. Okay, that's it. That's the first draft of my Emerald tier list. I'm willing to like move stuff around, but that would be my suggestion. I'm willing to put Regirock down in like C tier. I just can't think of anything that this Pokemon does. I'm sorry. Explain the Relicanth thing. You need Relicanth to get the Regis. If you don't have Relicanth in your party, you can't open the encounter locations for them. So it's completely different. You're doing no setup moves. Yeah. Pinsir, Gyarados, Registeel, Lanoon, and probably Illumise all drop by quite significantly. And like Melodic probably goes up there. Rating for Relicanth and Wailord in case you ban Legends. Wailord mid to low B. Relicanth probably F. Is there a reason Masquerain is banned? Yeah, because it's not legally obtainable in the game. All right, I have to go really soon. Any last questions, comments, concerns about this first draft of the tier list? Shut up, Joe. Pelipper Thief Tech. True. Pelipper, you know what, goes into A tier because it is the best Pokemon to thief Torkoal's White Herb with. And you want, ideally, multiple White Herbs on the Elite Four sometimes. Ludi's in C because it doesn't do fucking anything, man. Do you omit Spinda? It's right here, bro. Balloon pickup gives you infinite white herbs. Well, it's already the second best Pokemon in the game in my rating, so. Honestly, Love Disc is probably not bad. I feel like you outspeed and... Do you outspeed and kill Salamence and Flagon? .40 special attack. Ah, okay. Yeah, never mind. What's your favorite to test with? Illumise and Volbeat, I think. Or Pinsir. Golem's surely higher than Vileplume. Golem doesn't... It beats Watson. That's it. That's the only thing it does. Vileplume has like sauce on Wallace potentially. And on Juan. Seadra probably would be like F tier, but I don't give a shit. What's the reasoning for Swampert not being S besides it not dying to a blade of grass? That's not why it's not S at all. There's no grass types in this game that you fight. It's not S because it's a bulky water type that doesn't resist water, and there's 2 really big water type fights in this game. It doesn't do much on Wallace is the problem. Every Pokemon in S tier does things on like 3 or 4 Elite Four members, plus like some additional stuff. Either you do something on like all Elite Four members, or you do something on most of them and enable a consistent strategy, or you do something you do that plus like early game stuff. I think Walreign's probably the worst Pokemon here. Blaziken higher in B. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I think Norman can be hard. I think Flannery can be hard sometimes. I think you can lose to Winona, so you need to plan for it. And then Drake is also really hard. Drake can wipe you. Okay. I have to go. See you guys later. Peace. Fuck. Why is my stream deck broken? Why is everything broken today? Where's my end screen? There we go.